Good afternoon, YouTube. So this is the soft top I have on my 1985 Toyota 4Runner, and this was the original Kayline SoftTop, probably purchased sometime in the 1990s. I acquired it from a friend of mine, and this top has been on there for over 20 years. I think I put it on once in the late 90s, and then I took it off for a while, and then around 2000 I put it back on, and it's been on ever since. Apparently Kayline first developed this top, and then they were acquired or bought out by a company called SoftTop Co. They made a few little improvements to it over the years, and then I think they went out of business. At the time, there was a company called Canback back in the late 90s and early 2000s that made a Sunbrella or canvas cover similar to the Kayline. Now there's, I think, two companies. There's one called SoftTopper that makes a very similar top to this here, basically a PVC vinyl type material with a frame and the zip up sides or back window. And then another company called Killer Toy Tops. Yeah, so this top has been on the truck for well over 20 years now, and you can see like this back window has been fogged over, and the vinyl, clear vinyl, is starting to rip away at the seam, and then there's a crack up there where the roll bar is. The windows on the other side of the truck started going first, and then this one went, the back one is still fairly clear. But let me show you one other problem I have with the top. So yeah, here's the rear window. You can see the rear window just zips up and down here. One of the problems that I had early on is you can see how the vinyl has shrunk over the years. And like this snap here used to go down there, and I can no longer get it over there unless it's a really hot day, and then you can kind of stretch it. And then this snap here used to go over there, but you can see I'm a good inch and a half away. I haven't been able to get that snap fastened for a long time, and then the zipper doesn't go all the way down anymore. Originally I was thinking of taking the truck into one of these custom awning and boat cover shops and have them basically recreate or remake the top here in Sunbrella fabric like the Canback. The other consideration I had is I never really liked this rear window with that design, because with the 4Runner there's a retractable window in the door here, and you can roll that window up and down. And when I had the hardtop on, it was very nice because when you're driving down the highway, you can roll the rear window down, maybe about that far, and it creates a nice draft through the vehicle. The air going over the roof pulls air out of the vehicle, and you have the windows open in front. You just get a really nice ventilation through the truck. The problem is if you roll the window down too far, it starts sucking the exhaust gas back in, and you basically gas yourself out driving down the road. Once you go off-road, it's not a problem, because you're only driving walking pace, when you're crawling through the rocks and whatnot. And in that case, yeah, you can roll the window up and back. I roll the side windows up, and it's great. But I always hated this window because the only choice you have with this window is you can roll it all the way up, but if you drive on the highway, you suck the exhaust gas back in. That was the problem with remaking this top. So I went with the Killer Toy Top design. It allows you to use the rear glass window instead of this vinyl window that's really hard to see out of. So anyway, today's project is we want to get this top off and get the Killer Toy Top on. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, and you can see even today it's looking a little iffy, but the forecast said very low chance of rain, so I'm going to risk it here and get this off and see if I can get the new frame on. Yeah, so I've got to take out all the bolts here. I have the brackets that my company sells holding the frame to the body, but there's still a few sheet metal screws in here because the original Kayline top frame attached to the bed rails with just a ton of sheet metal screws. There's still a few screws. The Killer Toy Top frame uses only the factory bolt holes. Probably have to silicone all the screw holes that I put in there. Okay, we got the old Kayline top and the frame off. The windows, when I took them off and they folded, the clear vinyl just cracked, fell apart, which I was basically thinking might happen. But yeah, I got all the head rails cleaned up here. I've filled in all the screw holes I had there from the Kayline frame. And then I cleaned up the roll bar, gave it a coat of paint. Figured it'd be easier to spray some paint on now than once the top's on. But yeah, I think we're ready to go. So one thing I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to add some weather stripping along here. The frame for the top mounts up here, but then there's this gap underneath, so I was thinking of putting some like 1/4-inch weather stripping under there just to kind of seal that up, because there was a lot of dirt that got under the Kayline frame. Yeah, so that's what the frame looks like. It mounts to that upper bed rail, so I want to put the weather stripping underneath here to kind of fill that little gap there. Figure that'll keep out some of the dirt over time. And then this one ends back here. The Kayline top went clear back here, but I guess this is part of using the rear window there. Okay, there's the weather stripping under there. I think that'll seal it up pretty good. We've got all the bolt holes lined up. These are the two special bolts you need to pay attention to. On the factory top, these are just locating bolts. They don't really bite into anything here. They'll actually drop through that hole. So the one on the driver's side is special because there's a switch inside the bed rail there, and that bolt goes down and contacts that switch, and that's interlocked into the rear window. They call it the cover top presence bolt or something like that. Anyway, that switch over there has to be closed or your rear window doesn't work. And that's a common problem that people that take the top off, they don't pay attention because these are special bolts and they have to go in the right place. So I'm going to hit all these bolts with some anti-seize and then run them all in. Okay, we've got all the bolts. We've got the cab frame here, so it hooks into the side rail there. There's sort of a slotted tube. You have to go up and tighten the middle bolts and work your way out, and then I imagine I'll go down the side and tighten those up. So I did add some of my weather stripping in here. Not sure that it will actually do anything, but I had it, so I figured might as well put some in there. Maybe it'll keep some of the dirt out. Yeah, so here's the driver's side. You can see maybe a little better. But yeah, one thing I think I'm going to be able to do is the Kayline top had these braces that went from here to the rear hoop. And they just kind of stuck in there. There was sort of a plastic insert. I guess you had to drill those holes. But anyway, I have some wires coming out here. It turns out right there is into the inside of the roof, so I think I'll be able to get my wire loom in that hole, and then I can seal the headliner back up, because I used to run the wires out the back here. I have like a CB radio antenna and my backup camera, so I'm going to be changing my backup camera. So these wires are from the old backup camera, and I got to run the wires for the new backup camera in there. And yeah, that'll be really handy. So I think I'm going to open that hole up so I can get my wire loom in there. That solves another problem. So kill two birds with one stone right here. Yeah, I think that's going to work really well. So yeah, let me do that. I'll get my step bit and see if I can open that hole up. And then I can get headliner tucked back up in there. That's been untucked for 20 plus years. Okay, we got the 5 top rails there installed, so they attach to this rear hoop, and then you've got actually 5 braces that attach from the rear hoop to the front. On the Kayline, you only had this one rod here that ran back. Actually, that is kind of nice because I want to put a flexible solar panel up here. I've got a 200 watt panel and I need to attach it to this SoftTop. And with the Kayline, that was going to be hard because there was nothing here except for the vinyl. So this one will be nice because I've got those rails. Once I get the top on, I need to figure out how I want to do that. My big problem with the Kayline is how do I put the solar panel up there, and now I've got a solution. And then the other thing I did, I ran the GPS antenna for my backup camera up through there, and I just have it sitting up on top there. You can probably just see it up on top there. Show you inside there. Yeah, really nice construction. It's just so much stronger than the Kayline top, and everything uses all the factory bolts and everything lined up. Okay, there we got the sides on. So this one's a little bit different than the Kayline. There's the top piece that goes over, and then the sides zip to the top, and then like I showed you, they slide in that slotted tube there. So I guess if you want to take the sides off, you unzip them, and then there's Velcro at the front, and then you just pull them out the back. And then right over there, I've got one of the screen sides, so you could then slide the screen in and then zip it to the top, and you've got full screen sides. So yeah, that's pretty nice. And then right there, I can use my rear window again. So the rear window just rolls up into the fabric there. So yeah, at least I got a waterproof truck.